drugs, and drugs used to treatment of diabetes are called hypoglycemic drugs and insulin. The insulin is injectable type and the hypoglycemic drugs is the oral type. So what about diabetes? Diabetes affects 1 to 2% of many national population. Diabetes was known to ancient Greek medicine with the descriptions of melting of the flesh and limbs into urine. And the patient never stopped making water, but the flow is necessary. And their mouth becomes burst and their body was dry. So it's melting of the flesh and the limbs in urine. And the patient continued to make water, means continuous urination. So, how many types of diabetes we have? Diabetes is classified broadly as type 1 diabetes and formerly called insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus and abbreviated by IDDM, insulin-dependent diabetes, which typically occurs in younger people who cannot secrete insulin. That means type 1, there is no insulin in the body, no insulin secreted by the pancreas. Clear? This is the definition of type 1 diabetes. Other type of diabetes is type 2 diabetes, formerly known as non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus, NIDDM, which typically occurs in older and often obese people who retain capacity to secrete insulin but who are resistant to its action. That means, I repeat, type 1 diabetes, insulin dependent diabetes. There is no insulin secreted in the body. Clear? And this happens in young patients. Type 2 called non-insulin dependent diabetes mellitus. And that means there is those patients, especially elderly patients, retain some sort of secretion of insulin, but this insulin is not functioning. Why? Because of the resistance to this insulin. So we have two types of insulin. And type 2 mainly in the elderly patient and in those who are, some of them or most of them are obese. Clear? This is another slide shows the type 1 diabetes. Diabetes characterized by early onset, as I said, in young patient, while type 2 late onset in elderly patient. Type 1, the pathogenesis of the type 1 mainly autoimmune destruction of the beta cells, and this leads to the lack of insulin. While type 2 there is a remnant of insulin, but the insulin is resistant, and there is resistance to the insulin in the body. Other character of type 1 diabetes, low or absent of insulin secretion. Low or absent insulin secretion, as I said, while in type 2 diabetes, insulin hypersecretion, and this is linked, as I said, to obesity. Most of the patients are obese. Yeah? This is a comparison between type 1 and type 2 diabetes. This is clinical features and signs of patient with type 1 diabetes. As I said, this is a restroom, and this is a polyuria, increased urination, and the patient continue to make water, as a definition by Greek. Polyuria, increased thirst. Polyphagia, increased hunger. Then polyuria, polydipsia, or increased thirst. Weight loss, as you see, this is a lean patient. Fatigue, increased frequency of infections, and the patient is insulin dependent. This is a type 1 diabetes. Clear? What about type 2 diabetes? Type 2 diabetes, as you see, obese, eating everything, sedentary life, familial tendency. As I say, I forget some point, the type 2 runs in family. There is a family tendency, while type 1 not necessarily to run in family, and it is polygenic, could be mutation. Here, average age 50 years, as I said, in elderly, history of increased blood pressure, hypertension, fatigue, increased allergy, and again recurrent infection. This is a comparison of the symptom and sign between type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes. Oral time, not hypoglycemic drugs, oral hypoglycemic drugs. All of these insulin and oral hypoglycemic drugs called anti-diabetic drugs. Anti-diabetic drugs. So, what about insulin? You know insulin? You hear about? Yes. Insulin is a hormone secreted from the pancreas. It is called pancreatic islet cell extract and was first administered to a boy 14 years old insulin deficient patient on 11 of January 1922. This is first discovered of insulin and given to a patient aged 14 years. Developed diabetes in 1920 and received insulin in 1922 and who because of insulin lived until 1968. Okay, how many years? How many years from 22 up to 68? 40. Above 40 years. Good. Structure of insulin. It contains about 51 amino acids arranged in two chains, chain A and chain B. And these chains linked by what? By disulfide bridges. There are species differences in the amino acid of both chains. So any change in the sequences of these amino acids in the insulin chain give us a special or different types of insulin, and this insulin differs in duration and in function. Clear? This is a structure of insulin. We have what is called proinsulin. A long single chain protein molecule is processed within the Golgi or with the Golgi apparatus and packed into granules where it is hydrolyzed into insulin and a residual connecting segment called C-peptide by removal of 4 amino acids. So we have insulin and we have what is called proinsulin. This cartoon shows the structures of the insulin. As I said, it's a protein and consists of about 51 amino acids in two chains, A chain and B chain, and linked by disulfide bridge. So this is called insulin reservoir. This time, when we have change, remove this, substitute this, the last 3 amino acids or last 2 amino acids. This leads to what's called insulin aspartate. Okay, and when substitute glycine, substitute in this site, this leads to what's called insulin glargine. And each insulin has its unique function and duration. Clear? And this is might lead to the change in the strength. And then I need strong insulin. Change in this amino acid by substitution of certain amino acid. What about sources of insulin? From where we obtain insulin? Everybody know? What about source of insulin? Who is know? Yes? From what? Animal. Anyhow. Okay. Others? Yes, good. Other sources? Okay. Sources of insulin. First one, bovine insulin. What means by bovine? Very good. Very good. Bovine insulin differs from human insulin by 3 amino acids. As I said, any change in the amino acid leads to the different insulin. So the first source is bovine, and this differs from human insulin by 3 amino acids. Second type, porcine or porcine insulin, and this differs from human by only 1 amino acid. Third type, human insulin, and then as your colleague said, from animals, they are porcine or bovine, and other source who are human. It's called human insulin and is made either by what? How insulin is made? Human insulin is made first either by enzyme modification of what? Of porcine insulin or porcine, or by using recombinant DNA to synthesize the pro-insulin precursor molecule for insulin. As I said in the previous lectures, or previous slide, the pro-insulin is the precursor for what? For the insulin. So the human insulin either by enzyme modifications or by recombinant DNA to synthesize the pro-insulin, which is the precursor for insulin. Clear? So, and this is done by what? By artificially introducing the DNA into either Escherichia coli or yeast. They introduce DNA into the yeast or Escherichia coli, and this leads to the modification of DNA, and this DNA leads to the modification and there is of amino acid and insulin, which is called a human insulin. Other type or other source, it is called insulin analog. And this, what means by analog? Mean identical.